Hey, moin. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. My name is Mace. I'm coming to you from Canada. This is another story on the floods that were taking place in Germany about 3 to 4 years ago. Devastating. It was in 2021. Absolute, just catastrophic. The damage and, more importantly, the people and lives lost. And it's certainly sparked a thought in myself where even very recently, I was speaking with a client of mine and they brought up, their worry about the big one, as it's quoted here, on the West Coast, which is an earthquake set to be just incredibly powerful, incredibly devastating, an earthquake that only occurs every, centuries and centuries and centuries. And it's due to occur. Basically, you have the Cascadia plate and the North American plate. I might be getting the plate names wrong, but you have two plates off the coast in the Pacific Ocean. Two plates that are smashing into each other, and one is wedging under the other one, and eventually they're going to snap. Like, it's going to give, and there will be just an incredibly powerful earthquake and huge tsunami. And I think where we are situated on Vancouver Island, the tsunami is not necessarily such a big worry. It's more a apprehension and worry and anxiety around the damage and family members I have, in Seattle or in Vancouver, Victoria, because Tofino, like that, they will be devastated if there's a big tsunami coming. Places like Port Hardy, the tsunami will be real. Here, I think we only just need to go, even where our house is, it's fairly safe in terms of tsunami, but you still have to be worried about, the grid going down, and I should be prepared. I should have a go bag, right? You should have bottled water, canned goods, protein bars, power bars, food stores, prepackaged foods, cash, power banks for your cell phones, things like that, right? And you should have it in a nice, ready go bag that you can get out and then. But yeah, it's scary. Let's check this out. This is another story on the German flooding.
We start off with some breaking news. Severe storms across Germany have unleashed some of the worst floodings in decades. At least 6 people have died, including 2 firefighters who drowned. Up to 30 people are missing after heavy overnight downpours. The regions of North Rhine-Westphalia, Rhineland-Palatinate, and Saarland have been worst affected. A dam near the city of Wuppertal has
So we know that there was over 100 people died.
Flowed, and the authorities say it could break. Several houses have collapsed, and dozens more structures are at risk. Residents have been evacuated from hundreds of homes, but many of those who stayed are now trapped by the floodwater.
It's a fight against the floods. The deluge took many residents in Western Germany by surprise.
No doubt.
There was no water around 1:30, but within half an hour, it was like a big stream, completely flooded.
Komplett abgesoffen.
All at once, the water started flowing in. It came from over there, it flowed in here, and in no time, it was up to my chest. Different parts of Germany were hit by the bad weather. In the western city of Düsseldorf, an entire housing estate with 350 apartments had to be evacuated. In the town of Altena, a firefighter was swept away by the water and drowned. In Jönstadt, close to the Czech border, a 53-year-old was caught in a flash flood. Rescue workers are still searching for him. The heavy rainfall was caused by warm and cooler air mixing. Such extreme weather can occur in summer, but it only happens rarely. The last time we saw this happen was in 2005, or before that in 1999, when some rivers flooded due to the sheer amount of rainfall that is.
So yeah, we kind of discussed in the last one that it's not necessarily an isolated weather event, and it's happened before. And I was somewhat perturbed, or at least I made a side comment about one of the persons that they were interviewing in the last video, and she said, well, you would expect this to happen in poor countries, but you wouldn't expect it to happen in Germany. And some of you helpfully explained that she likely meant like Germany and more well-to-do countries will have better dikes, dams, systems of defense versus like to combat the flooding, whereas some countries less fortunate might not have those in place, right?
Is indeed exceptional.
Das ist tatsächlich außergewöhnlich.
Hagen in western Germany was hit particularly hard. It was impossible to drive along some streets,
Oh man,
even for the
scary
rescuers.
images.
Das hat uns unter anderem dazu
This prompted us to request help from the army to get the situation here in Hagen under control. And luckily, it turned out very well.
erfreulicherweise hat das auch sehr gut geklappt.
People all across Germany are hoping for the rain to relent soon.
For more on this, let's bring in DW's Nina Haase, who's been following the story for us. Nina, we understand that dozens of people are missing after houses collapse. What are you hearing?
The situation is very drastic in many areas of Western Germany, and that just goes to show the severity of the situation, that houses collapse, and in that area where they collapse, a large number of other houses are also unstable and at risk of collapse. The authorities have said, and many different areas here are affected, but the German rail service...
Wow, you got to imagine like how these vehicles got up in the positions that they are. So the water level was probably rushing and very high, but absolutely like just catastrophic.
Has warned passengers from other parts of the country not to travel to North Rhine-Westphalia at the moment because Germany's most populous state is the worst affected because of the floods. People are, the German rail service is urging people not to go there. And many people are talking about this situation as a disaster that happens only every few decades. Some say it's never happened to this extent. And there are reports of what's normally little streams of like 2 meters wide that are currently 200 meters wide, just so that you get an idea of the situation.
Whoa.
What can you report about the rescue efforts at this point? I can imagine that the conditions make it extremely difficult.
Of course, and we've heard already about those 2 firefighters who have died. One, as we heard in the report, was swept away by the water after trying to rescue a man. And many people this morning tried to find shelter in the upper floors of their houses waiting to be rescued. So, of course, the authorities have to get access to those people and provide them with food or try and rescue everything that's valuable to them from their houses. And that, of course, is hindered by those severe floods. And thousands of people have had to be evacuated. Of course, there had been warnings.
So, like an event like this certainly reminds us of Mother Nature's power. One sobering thought, I suppose, that we can take away is you'll often see people rally together. They'll come together, support each other. So, but like that's no sort of solace, but it does sometimes shine a light on our collective humanity, I would say.
But people, like we heard in the report, weren't really expecting this extent of flooding. And so there are severe warnings by the authorities to refrain from what they call disaster tourism, so not to try and go somewhere, take pictures, because many people just haven't seen pictures like this in their lifetime.
That'd be...
I imagine that rescue workers are literally looking to the skies for help. Is an end to the rain in sight?
Well, the weather report from this morning says that we're still expecting some rain in many areas in those affected regions, but not to the same extent, luckily, as over the past couple of hours. And in some areas, the rain has stopped already, like, for example, in that area that was mentioned in Hagen, the rain has stopped. But that, of course, means that now the water has to be cleared away, the rubble has to be cleared away, the area has to be tidied up. And that is the case in Hagen, where, incidentally, the regional leader of the affected area, Armin Laschet, who's the Conservative candidate for Chancellor, has already arrived to assess the situation on the ground, and he will talk to the press later.
That's DW.
I don't even know how they go about cleaning up. That must be a overwhelmingly massive job to undertake.
Nina Haase. Many, many thanks, Nina.
Wow. Yeah, it's crazy stuff. certainly humbles you to a degree, makes you feel gratitude that, you know, I haven't faced any situations like that, luckily, you know. All right, let me know what you guys think down below. Were you affected by this? And yeah, we'll see you soon. Tschüss.